AskReddit by deleted. What's something you learned embarrassingly late in life? It took me 18 years to realize shampoo goes before conditioner. I always wondered why my hair felt silky smooth before I used the shampoo. I'm from Mississippi, and until I was 18 I thought that everyone else in the country counted with their own state. I.e., instead of 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, they would count 1 Nevada, 2 Nevada, or 1 Maryland, 2 Maryland, etc. If you are from Transylvania, then it's 1 RRR, 2 RRR, and so on. It wasn't until I was about 20 that I discovered that you're supposed to add water to condensed soup. Very vividly remember eating condensed tomato soup in my dorm room without any water, so was essentially eating ketchup. That players on American sports teams do not all originally come from the area where their team is from. My dad was fond of framing questions to my brother and or me regarding just what on earth we were doing, up to age 10 or so, when it no longer seemed necessary, using the term "pray tell," as in what are you doing with the tools, pray tell? I presumed a prattle was a gentle equivalent to goofball or dummy. One day I corrected my brother about some misconception he had, addressing him as "you prattle." "What did you call him?" asked Dad, who happened to be nearby. "A prattle. You call us that all the time." "I do." "Yeah, you say. What is that supposed to be, prattle?" I'd never seen him laugh through a fascicum before. Knowledge is power. Francis Bacon. I didn't know tortilla chips were made out of tortillas until I was 20 years old and saw the line cook at my job cut up a tortilla and throw it in the deep fryer. Oh. When I was 10 I thought the word masturbate meant contemplate. So I told my math teacher that I needed more time to masturbate my math problem. Also, when I was 15 I learned that a woman's eggs were not the same size as chicken eggs. I thought periods were so bloody because the chicken-sized egg was stretching them out. Similarly, I thought the word masturbate meant something along the lines of an expert or master fisherman. Because you use bait to fish. I don't remember when I learned the truth, but I had used it before for fishing stupidly and never got corrected. The worst one was rape. I thought it meant to stab or cut someone, because of the weapon, the rapier. Too many times as a child joking around I said "stop that or I'll rape you" instead of "stop that or I'll cut you." The worst one was saying my brother annoyed me sometimes that I could just rape him to my girlfriend when I was like 13. I never understood why she looked horrified until later. In other news, I'm big into etymology now and studying the history of words and meanings. I feel like it's because of younger mishaps like these I made, lol. I thought ponies were just baby horses until the age of 23. Edit. Until I was 23, I didn't think horses aged like turtles. I'm dumb, but not that dumb. Okay, so I read that as baby horses are known as ponies until they officially become adult horses at the age of 23. Considering that the average lifespan of a horse is like 30 years or something, I was shocked that the commenters below you had thought the exact same statistic as you did. Until I was in school for environmental studies, I thought morning dove was morning dove. I usually heard them calling in the mornings, so morning made sense to me. I just learned this now. Thanks. I was maybe 17 or 18 before learning that it was Timbuktu, not Timbuktu. I thought there was an original Timbuk out there somewhere. I was about 25 when I found out Timbuktu was a real place. I had thought it was just an expression for a faraway place. I thought sedan was a car brand until I was 22. I thought that until I heard the joke, "Why do chicken coops have 2 doors? Cause otherwise they'd be chicken sedans," and it all made sense. That all the places in France were not named after wines. Some were named after cheeses. Why I was really young, my sister told me she threw her guts up. So I was really afraid of vomiting my entire insides up for years. My older teen sister told my smoker dad that his cough sounded like he was coughing up a kidney. I thought it was totally possible for years. That a prostitute doesn't actually sell a piece of their body. Backstory: my mom and I were watching the scene from Titanic where Jack tells Rose that he painted a one-legged prostitute. I asked my mom what a prostitute was and she told me it's someone who sells their body for money. I could not fathom why someone would sell their leg for like $30. Lol, that was just a perfect confluence of unrelated information to confuse you. It was a completely logical connection to make. Things aren't supposed to start to get blurry at about 15-20 feet. Learned I needed glasses at like 26 from one of these threads. Yes people, you are supposed to be able to see individual leaves on trees. Hope someone else can be helped like I was. I'll never forget the first time I looked up into the night sky after I got glasses and realized that you can, in fact, see the moon clearly. I assumed people who depicted it in art were taking creative license BC. They knew it should look like that for some reason, and that the human eye was incapable of seeing the moon without also seeing two other, blurrier moons, sort of overlapping it. It blew my mind. I live near the hospital for joint diseases. When I was a kid I thought it was a special hospital for people who had two different diseases at the same time. Person with multiple diseases here. I will raise this at the next meeting with the hope of adopting it. When people say quote unquote, I thought they were saying quote unquote. I always thought it was quote, end quote. Moving cross country, driving east to west. Crossing from Idaho to Oregon, noticed huge fields with signs for the Ore-Ida Potato Company. So I was in my early 20s when I figured out Ore-Ida wasn't just a brand name but was because their potatoes came from Oregon and Idaho. Similarly, C and AMP, H sugar is for California and Hawaii. When I was a teenager, I posted a status online that said I was jacking off. I thought that meant you were just bored and wasting time, until my older sister messaged me, horrified. When I was a teenager, I thought the expression to eat someone out meant the same thing as to chew someone out. Unfortunately I was educated on this after I told someone in a church that I wasn't expecting to be eaten out that morning at breakfast. I was 17 LMAO. My parents were divorced the whole time and my mom was not, in fact, taking a vacation LMAO. We're telling our kids that certain actors are on vacation when we need a change of scenery from a certain show like Blippi or Cocomelon or something. That a coma was a coma. Until I was probably 19 I thought it was a coma. I thought you fell into a coma. For the longest time I thought astigmatism was astigmatism, so I think we cancel each other out. I thought all tombstones had cause of death on them, like old Timmy ones. RIP must have meant that got ripped to death somehow. The world was scary, haha. Let me tell you about how I thought you were awarded a Pulitzer Prize. Not too late in life, but I thought my parents were making Roman Cokes until I went to college. Which, I think is a much better name for the drink anyway, rum and coke. I learned that pork and beans are not called cowboy beans. I was 18 and asked a grocery store clerk to help me find the cowboy beans. We were looking everywhere and I was getting frustrated because I know that every store carries these beans. After a while I pick up a pork and beans can with a picture and say, see, it looks just like this. He says, you mean pork and beans? Then I realize that my mom called them that so that I would eat them. The look of disappointment from that grocery store clerk haunts me to this day. Dude, that's fucking hilarious. Oral contraceptive. You mean you can get pregnant just from doing that? That bonsai are not a species of tree, but a way to grow them. Any tree can be a bonsai. I didn't know that. Houston is not the name of the guy astronauts talk to. Houston, we have a problem. Your name isn't Houston. I suspected it was the same with lots of people, but I found out it wasn't guerrilla warfare but guerrilla warfare maybe in my 20s. The disappoints of growing up, they just keep coming. Dart. I'll take it a step further. I thought it was racist because I always heard about the guerrilla fighters in Africa. I was just like, dude, they're soldiers. You can keep that shit to yourself. Coca and cocoa are two different plants, not one magical organism lol. If one plant gave us both cocaine and chocolate, that would be a compelling reason to believe there is a god and he wants us to fucking party. Edit. Oh wow, this blew up. Thank you for the awards and internet points. I think I was in college when I realized that Mario and Luigi are plumbers. I thought they just went and up down these tubes just because that was the theme of the game. I'm 44 and never made the connection between the pipes and the plumbers. OMG. Don't tell my kids, they'll never let me live it down.